This first episode, I want to talk about, when we think about fatherhood, parenting, relationships, business, how building all of these at once is very, very hard. It's a tough game. And the reason why a lot of men struggle is because they're missing one key thing. And I'm actually going to share a story here real quick. It's the backstory on how I originally started the Forged Father Project damn near 7 years ago. My first daughter was born, Evangeline. We all call her Minnie. But it was about 8 months after she had been born. And I remember lying in bed one night with my wife, and my wife sobbing in bed. I remember, I could tell because she was just, I could hear her crying. So I reached over, grabbed her shoulder and said, "Hey, babe, what's wrong?" And she kind of just slugged it off, and that's never a good sign. Long story short, we have a really deep conversation that night that brought a lot of things to light for me. Here I was thinking that I was being a great dad. I was being a great husband because I was being a provider. I was hustling. I was grinding as a professional. I was being the provider. I was doing what I need to do within my profession to build a life that I wanted my wife to have, that I wanted my new daughter to have. And so I was so consumed with that at the time. I was so consumed with my professional life, with building financial growth, being a provider. I had everything dialed in as far as my fitness and nutrition goes. That's just a part of who I am. But where I was really dropping the ball at that point, that was made very, very clear that night, was with being a present husband and a present father, which I was not being either of those. I was so blinded by work, produce for my family. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for my daughter. That's the fucking lie I was telling myself for months on end. I would get up first thing in the morning. I'd be out the door training people at my gym. I'd work all day, coaching my guys online. I'd work at night, training in the gym. I'd come home. I would say to myself, all right, tonight I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to be fully present with my daughter. I'm going to be fully present with my wife. Then I would find myself on my phone, on my computer, working, getting in that one extra project, taking on that one extra client to produce, to build more, right? And so in my mind, I had this thought, like I was producing. I was doing this all for my family, and that makes it okay. But it wasn't until that night, and I thank God for it all the time, that my wife and I finally communicated about this. But that night woke my ass up and said, "Travis, you could possibly lose your family. You could lose the very thing that you're working your ass off so hard to provide for. You might lose it." My wife felt second best. She didn't feel loved. I hardly knew my first daughter. I was hardly ever around. And when I was not present. And so it was that night that I said to myself, I made a promise to myself that I was going to make a change. And the big thing that I was lacking at this point, and this is what most men are lacking when it comes to, bringing all these things together, being a dad, being a good husband, being an amazing professional, tying in your athlete role all together. What most men are missing is structure. Simple as it is, they are missing structure. Furthermore, priorities are not appropriately laid out. And so while you are putting all your time and effort into being a provider, how much time and effort are you actually putting into being a dad? How much time and effort are you actually putting into being a present husband? How much time and effort are you actually putting into building up your athlete role? And so for most of the men that come to me and work with me, especially in the beginning, they're being a great provider, but they're not being a present husband. They're not being a present father. If they are, it's lackluster because they don't prioritize their health. They don't prioritize the athlete role. And so they've let their health completely slip in the pursuit of wealth. And I get it. I understand because I was playing that game too. But for me, health and fitness is a part of who I am. It's a part of my lifestyle. So I've never let that slip. I can't sit here and say I've been 40, 50 pounds overweight and have felt like shit. And my energy was affected from that. I can't sit here and say that. However, I've helped hundreds upon thousands of men transform their lives, lose the weight, get themselves back into shape so they could be better for their family, so they can be better as a man when they show up with more energy, with more confidence. And it goes beyond that. But when we start to think about these four roles as a husband, as a father, as a provider, and an athlete, what most men are missing is structure. So you got to have a structure to your day. And that's the first thing that I thought about when my wife and I had that conversation. I was like, I need to get my shit together. How do I go about doing that? Well, I have priorities as a dad. I have non-negotiables. I have priorities as a husband, non-negotiables. I have priorities as a professional, non-negotiables. And then I have priorities with my health and fitness that are non-negotiables. That's step number one, is we create these non-negotiables, these things that we are not going to fucking skip out on. When it comes to family, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to being a dad and a husband, these non-negotiables, being present in the moment, structuring in time for family where it is family time. It is not you're on your phone. It is not you're taking calls. It is not you're working. It is not you're doing anything else but being present and in the moment. When it's very clear, when you have it structured in, well, guess what? You build that area up. It gets better. Focused, intentional practice, it gets better. Are you going to be perfect? Absolutely not. It's all about progress over perfection. Same thing when you're working, non-negotiables. When it's time to work, get shit done. Cut down the distractions. Don't try to multitask. Be focused, be dialed in. You'll be way more productive. When it comes to you, yourself, your athlete role, when it's time to train, it's time to train. It's time to get that shit done. Whether you're motivated to do it or not, you get it done. You're a disciplined individual. It's a non-negotiable. It's a priority. You make it a part of you. It's a code. It's a code that we live by inside the Forge Father. We know that our health and fitness is going to help us show up as a better individual. It's going to help us lead our family from the front. When we're fit, when we're strong, when we're energized, when we're healthy, we can lead from the front. That isn't even a worry. So you make it a priority. You make these things a priority. Then you tie it into structure. So we operate off of what I like to call the core five, right? And this right here has literally changed my life from the time that I had that conversation with my wife until today. It has built me into a better dad. It has built me into a much better husband. It's built me into a better professional. And it's definitely helped me ascend as an athlete myself, because the core five is basically what will help you thrive as a busy dad. So you got your fitness, you got your fuel, which is your nutrition. You got your frame, which is your mindset. You got your family, which is focus, time in on family. And then you got focus. Focus is all about planning. Focus is all about being prepared, readying yourself for the day. So when you wake up in the morning, you're clear, you're focused, you're not running around like a chicken with his head cut off. You know exactly what needs to be done because now you're following the structure. Now you're implementing. Now you're executing on the plan. You're being a man of discipline and you're getting shit done. And I'll tell you, if you're a man out there and you're busy all the time and you're stressed all the time and you're overwhelmed, I can tell you right now, it's probably because you lack structure. You lack structure because you have no set priorities. And if you do have priorities and you do have structure, you lack discipline. Show me a dad that's 20, 30, 40 or more pounds overweight. I will show you a dad that lacks fucking discipline, period. I don't care if you're making 6 figures, 7 figures or more. You lack discipline with yourself. When you do that, you're taking away from how much better you can show up as a dad, as a husband, as a professional. I'm telling you that right now, because I know even if you deny that this is true, when you look in the mirror, you're not 100% confident and proud of that man that you see because you know you lack discipline. You break promises. You tell yourself that you're going to change. You tell yourself that you're going to get committed. You're going to stick to this structure, and then you break those promises. And it just becomes a part of what you do. And so you break those promises with yourself. What are the other promises that you're breaking? Think about it. So here's the thing. If you want to lead and live a legacy, you got to have structure. You got to have structure. That is where it all starts, is with the structure. Structuring in time for you, your fitness, your fuel, your frame, your mindset, your family. That's what's most important. And then your focus. Planning things out so you know exactly what needs to be done. And then just being a man of implementation. Relentless with taking action. That's what it's all about. This is where it starts. So within upcoming episodes, what I want you to think about is how we're going to take the different frameworks, the different lessons that I teach you, how you'll be able to apply these to your life so you can start building yourself up as a better dad, as a better husband, as a better professional, as a better athlete. Those are the 4 key roles that we want to focus in on here to build. And when you got these 4 key roles dialed in on lock, that's when you're living and leading a legacy. You don't have a weakness. So right now, we need to pinpoint what the weakness is. And if that's you, yourself, if you're out of shape, if you're soft, if you're weak, lacking energy, and you can see it and feel it, that's got to change. So here's to looking towards future episodes. I'm excited about this series about becoming a Forge Father and earning your edge so you can live and lead a legacy. I'll see you on the next episode.